Hello, everyone. Welcome to Molehill Mountain, episode 329. Andrew here. Sorry for no podcast last week. Was in a rather foul mood. Looked at my topic list and went, "Oh man, those are all negative." I'm not up for a for an hour bitch fest. So I thought it was better for both of us if I just skipped last Saturday. So. My first story to regale you with is I was working yesterday. I think this was Friday. It doesn't really matter. Official MX, hello. Have I played Grand Theft Auto games? I have played Chinatown Wars, the DS game. I think that's the only one I've actually played. And it's pretty good. It's fun. Not really big into handheld games, but, you know, I enjoyed it well enough. That was alright. Story, yes. Okay, so I'm working yesterday. It's middle of the day. I'm on a Zoom call with other folks in my group, and we're just summing up what we did that week, when suddenly there was a knock at my door, which is really unusual. Particularly because this is a gated community now. So it almost certainly couldn't be a solicitor or something like that. Could it be one of my neighbors? Why would it be? I don't talk to anybody. So I excused myself, put myself on mute, opened the door, and some woman who I've never seen before in my life says, "Hi, I don't live here. But so I don't have a key to the gate, so could you let me out?" So this poor woman was trapped in my apartment complex. And I was thinking to myself, just push the door open. You don't need a key from the inside. You don't need a key to get out. You need a key to get in to open the gate, but you don't need a key to get out. You can just push the gate open and leave. But she was on double crutches, so I figured, the gate swings outward, and there is a very steep set of concrete steps there, so maybe she just needs help getting the door open and held open while she makes her way down the stairs. Fair enough. So I say, hang on a second, let me put on my shoes. Put on my shoes, follow her outside, and realize she ain't going out the gate. Not the pedestrian gate. Her car is parked in the middle of the parking lot, and she wants to leave through the main slidey vehicle gate. And I tell her, just pull up to the gate. There's a pressure plate buried under the asphalt that will open the gate automatically when you pull up to the gate. Apparently that wasn't working, or she wasn't pulling up far enough, or I have no idea, but I said, okay, let me run into the house, get my car keys so I can get my car to get the remote for the gate. So go in the house, get my car keys, open my car, get the remote, run past her over to the gate, clicky clicky, gate opens up, and she's on her way. How'd she get in? Was she visiting someone? Did she follow someone in and then realize she was in the wrong parking lot? Because apparently she'd been sitting in the parking lot for like 10 minutes waiting for someone to leave, and then I guess she decided to just start knocking on doors to see if someone would let her out. So an odd encounter, but she managed to escape my apartment complex with minimal fuss, so okay. No point to this story, just kind of an odd one. Also got a bee in my apartment this week. That was, I don't have a problem with bees. Bees don't bother me. Oh, there are organisms on Earth that freak me the hell out. Bees aren't one of them, though. That could possibly be because I've never been stung by one. My sister's been stung by bees like 3 times. She really don't like bees. Guess I can't blame her. If I'd been stung 3 times by bees, I'd in 3 different at 3 different times, not 3 bees stung her at the same time, but twice near a pool. She was on swim team and she got out of the pool and stepped on a bee and it stung her in the heel. And then some other time she was swimming in a pool and a bee just landed on her neck and stung her in the neck. So she's not a big fan of bees. Me, they don't bother me, but when one's in your house and it appears to be particularly stressed out, that's a red flag. Because the bee really wanted to leave through the window, and I'm thinking, man, I'm going to open my front door and try to coax the bee to leave, and more bees are going to come in. I'm just going to have a house full of bees. Jared says, what about wasps? I've been hit with wasps before, and it hurts. So yeah, I really don't like wasps. If I see a wasp nest, I get away from it. Generally speaking, if you're not near a wasp nest, you're not near wasps. They, for the most part, seem to leave you alone as long as they don't perceive you as a threat to their nest. But I'll tell you one flying thing that does bother me is bumblebees. Because they're big and noisy and fuzzy. Those things freak me out. Because they get all up in your face. They're very curious. They're like, hey, what's going on? What's going on? Hey, you doing anything? And you're like, oh, get away from me. Yeah. I don't know if bumblebees actually do sting anything. Or bite, or what they do. They just kind of follow you around like a big curious puppy. But they fly and they make big buzzing noises and they creep me the hell out. Spiders. Spiders don't bother me. I'll scoop them up and throw them outside. Cockroach will die. Ugh, this creep me the hell out. Hate cockroaches. Just about anything any creepy crawly I find in my apartment, I'll just scoop up and throw outside. Cockroaches, I do not extend that courtesy. Roaches must die. So, but I did manage to get the bee out and alive too. So that was nice. How did I do it? The vacuum cleaner. Just sucked it up into the trap on the low setting, and then took it outside and dumped it, and it flew away. Hopefully I didn't give it a concussion. I used the low suck setting. So. Oh, flies? Yeah, I'll swat flies too. Alright, so if you follow me on Twitter, you're likely to have seen me whine at various movie studios for wasting 5 seconds of my day by appending clips of the movie trailer to the front of the movie trailer that I'm already watching. I hate that. It sure does bother me. I have a template. I pretty much say the same thing every single time. Let me find one. Dear Paramount Picks, stop putting a few seconds of clips from the movie trailer in front of the movie trailer I'm already watching. Love, Andrew. Now, I assume there's a good reason they do this. I would imagine there's there's analytic data that shows conclusively that watch time is higher when they do that. I imagine, smart people who study this stuff can conclusively prove that it is better for watch time, actual viewer retention, to start your movie trailer with 5 or 6 seconds of clips from the movie trailer that the viewer already decided to watch. I don't understand that, but I accept that that's probably the case. But I don't care because it annoys me. So I've always been trying to puzzle out what kind of person, doesn't make him a bad person, but what kind of person are we talking about who decides to watch a movie trailer? It's like, oh, Transformers Rise of the Beasts. Interesting. Click. Nope, I'm lost, and then clicks away. If you don't grab them in 4 or 5 seconds, they just click away from the movie trailer that they clicked on to watch. That's a person that I have difficulty conceiving of. So, lovely viewers like you have in the past suggested a few options that may be the case. Maybe it's the fact that the studios use the same upload for their ads that they do for that are on their channels. So when you're watching a YouTube ad roll before your video starts, and instead of, they want to front load that with some type of hook to keep you watching instead of clicking skip after 5 seconds, which I imagine most people do. The ad comes on and you have to watch it for 5 seconds and then it allows you to skip past it. So they want you to not skip past it. So they put all the money shots and real interesting things up front. Or even like, you are now watching the trailer for this movie. Which makes sense in that context, but not for the context of it's a video on your YouTube channel that I've decided to watch. Because to me, that's like getting in my car, driving to the theater, paying money for movie X, going into the theater, sitting my arse down, and then the previews start and they show me a trailer for the movie I've already paid to see. Like, if I go to the theater to watch the Super Mario Brothers movie, you don't need to run a trailer for the Super Mario Brothers movie. I'm already here. You got me. You have my money. For this specifically. It's stupid. It's a waste of both of our times, methinks. But if, for some reason, the trailer that plays in YouTube ad rolls is the exact same upload that's on channels, okay, you could just make 2 different videos. You could have the one with the hook be an unlisted video and the one on your main channel just not have that, because it's a waste of time. I mean, and, for some people, it's like, you're spoiling spoilers for the trailer. I want to see the big money shot in context. That's why trailers are edited the way they are, to build up to the big reveal or the money shot or the, right? And it's like, oh, well, shoot, I've already seen the big explosion or the monster reveal because you put it in the first 5 seconds. Now it loses its impact in the context of the entire trailer. Hey, Lee, what has YouTube done now? Well, I offered a month ago, I tweeted at YouTube and I said, hey, YouTube, let's try this. If you keep bigotry and harmful disinformation out of my recommends for 1 month, I will donate $5,000 to a vetted, non-hateful charity of your choice. YouTube never responded. Surprise! So I upped the ante to 10,000. Let's see if and I'm comfortable doing that, even though I'd have to dip into my 401k or something. Because not only do I believe they wouldn't be able to do it, they won't take me up on it either. It's like, wow, $5,000, $10,000 to your favorite charity, and all you have to do is not recommend me bigotry or harmful disinformation. That's all you gotta do. But no, they're not even gonna bother. So, yeah, YouTube kind of sucks at that. So, Brian proposed another reason movie studios may put 5 seconds of clips from their trailers in front of their trailers. And he said, well, it might be for people who use the autoplay feature. And I thought about that. I thought, does anyone actually use that? And I had to experiment a little bit with it a little bit just to see how it worked. And how the autoplay feature, it's a little button that's in the bottom right of your YouTube control. Lee said, is that why you offered? Because you knew they wouldn't do it? $5,000 is something that I could scrounge up myself. And, if I would absolutely do that. I'm comfortable. Yes, I don't believe in a million years YouTube would ever take me up on that or be able to do it. This is something that they will absolutely fail at, so I'm comfortable offering up enough money that I could afford, but I would definitely miss, let's put it that way. So, yeah. But, if I could go a month without seeing bigotry or harmful disinformation in my recommendations, and a worthy charity got $5,000, hey, there are worse things I can do. Grease. What was I talking about? Oh, so autoplay. So here's how autoplay works. When you have autoplay off and your video ends, the video player window populates with a grid of other videos you can watch. It's essentially a smaller selection from your main recommendation screen. I think it's a 4x3 grid. Pardon me, so you've got 12 videos to choose from. If you have autoplay on, it will pick a video for you to watch next. So when the video terminates, it pulls up one tile with the screen, the thumbnail for the video and the title, and you have 3 options. Cancel, play now, or just wait 5 or 6 seconds and it will play automatically. So, I would imagine that most people who consume videos on YouTube click away during the credits. When the YouTuber goes, well, that's it. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and make sure you like and subscribe and ring the bell so you're notified of all my future videos. And quick shout out to all my Patreons. You are awesome and you help make this channel a possibility. And until then, friends, be well. And then it transitions to a screen with some outro music and maybe a special thanks thing, and then the video terminates. I imagine most people click away before the video reaches the very end of its runtime. Most people, in my experience, I haven't been in a theater in over 3 years, but my entire history of going to movie theaters has shown me that the majority of audience members, even when it's understood that there is mid or post-credit scenes to see, most people leave when the credits roll. Most do. Not all, but most people, when the credits start rolling, they leave. Hell, I've seen people get up and walk away when it feels like the movie's wrapping up. When we're in the midst of the denouement. People are like, well, I'm out. Gotta beat traffic. So I imagine a lot of that would carry over to YouTube videos, and most people, when it starts, well, that's it, like and subscribe, it's like, okay, cool, click away. I imagine most people do that. So I find it hard to believe that a significant number of people actually use YouTube in a way that would force them to watch videos all the way to the end to get a screen that says this is the next video that will play in 6 seconds unless you press cancel, or you can play it now. But even if they did do that, they've already specifically decided to watch the next video by either pressing play now or waiting 5 or 6 seconds, whatever the timer is. So again, if the next video that they've decided to watch is a movie trailer, you don't need to hook them. They're already watching! So I don't think that's it. But I looked deeper. There is also, don't you know, a button right now on the left, bottom left, right next to the play button. That's the next button. That, if you are watching a YouTube video and you press next, that will immediately start playing some next video. Some, not random, the algorithm decides based on what it presumes your preferences are. But one could essentially channel surf YouTube. Now, if you're a young viewer, channel surfing is back when we had, different stations with different programming, and you would sit on the couch and you would hit the channel up button or channel next button and go, news, nah, click, and you'd hit a new channel. It's a commercial, click, commercial, click, commercial, click, news, don't care. That's a, I'm trying to make a joke, I can't remember what they're called. Reality television, I hate that, click. Oh, a home decorating show. This might be interesting. True crime, some movie, but it's in the middle. I like this movie. Yeah, that's channel surfing, where you keep flipping through channels until you find something interesting. Maybe some people watch YouTube like that. They just slam on the next button, watching a couple of seconds of whatever video pops up until they happen to land on something that they're interested in watching. And if a significant number of people actually watch YouTube like that, then yeah, I could see value in front-loading your movie trailer with the most provocative and interesting clips to keep these channel surfing YouTubers on the video to watch the whole thing. But does anyone on Earth actually watch YouTube like that? Subjective, of course, but I would propose that there are better ways to watch YouTube. For one, that particular method, this channel surfing method, is just, it's guided by what the algorithm thinks you like, but it is essentially just random. So you're just clicking until you find something, rather than, you can get a lot more value of looking at a title card and a video title, and even maybe the channel, to get an idea of if it's something you might want to see. You could even hover your cursor over it and get it to, play in a small window to give you a little preview, and then scroll through it and see if it looks like it might be interesting. But with the just slamming on the next button, here's a big drawback to that. One, you only get one video at a time. Two, every video you skip past ends up in your watch history. Now, I imagine, I don't know, but I would imagine that your viewer retention influences the algorithm, but still, if it served you up a video that you weren't interested in, and you're like, nah, not interested in that, and you hit next, it's in your watch history, which means you watched it, which means the algorithm is going to tilt in that direction. No good. So, here is how I browse YouTube. For the channels that I like, I bookmark their video page, or maybe the playlist of videos. Maybe they only have one show that I like. I'll bookmark that playlist, or their video page. And then when I'm thinking about watching something, I just go through my bookmarks and see what's new. Because I don't trust YouTube's subscribe and notify thing. It doesn't work. When I subscribe to a channel, I want to see everything that channel uploads. And YouTube doesn't do that. I have such a fear of missing out that I'd rather bookmark the page and manually check it every so often. But aside from that, if you're just... Here's what I feel is a better way to browse YouTube. Go to youtube.com. Pretty easy to remember. It's just the site name .com. This will bring you to a recommendations page, which is a grid of dozens and dozens of videos that the algorithm thinks you might want to watch. And that allows you, instead of one by one, to see like a dozen videos on the page at a time as you're scrolling. And you can go, ooh, kittens, yay. Or, ooh, video games, yay. Or, ooh, movie trailers, yay. Or, cosplaying pianists, cool. Hey, here's a person. Here's a person who gives cows a pedicure. This is a real thing. I've seen literally 2 separate channels that are devoted to trimming cow toenails. I mean, that's actually really cool, because it never occurred to me that trimming cow feet was actually a profession. This is the wonderful thing about YouTube and other similar social media platforms. YouTube could be so amazing, but it's so bogged down with bigotry and harmful disinformation. It's a damn shame. Anyway, so you find something interesting, you click on it, and you watch it. And if you find out, oh, this is no good, you go to your watch history and you remove it so the algorithm doesn't think you want to watch it. Because sometimes YouTube will like, oh, you watched a video from Susan. That must mean you want nothing but videos from Susan. No, YouTube, that's not what I want. But another advantage to this is on that recommendation page, for every single video you're looking at, you have a option for each video that you can block the entire channel, or don't recommend this video, or if it keeps recommending Susan's video and you're like, look, Susan's a nice person, but this specific video I'm just not interested in watching, you can don't recommend the video, you can don't recommend the channel, you can report channels if they're clips of people, clips of the Super Mario Brothers movie that people recorded on their cell phones in the theater, of which I keep telling YouTube to please stop doing that. They shouldn't platform it anyway, but stop recommending it to me. And I think, what are we up to? 28 separate channels I've had to block because they're trafficking in pirated film footage. Just stop it. I'm not interested in it. So yeah, I have no idea if anyone actually essentially channel surfs YouTube. If a significant number do, I still don't like it, but that would at least be a logical reason to, put 5 seconds of teaser or hook material in the front of your movie trailers. But man, that's in my humble opinion, a bad way to browse YouTube. But, you do you. Let's see. Let's see. Lee says, what I don't like is the P word being advertised because it's all fighting on both sides. The P word. But I can't afford YouTube Premium to take away the ads. People shouldn't leave until the end of a movie because they're sometimes missing something at the end. Yeah, I agree. I'm actually, even if I know that there's no end credits scene or something, I'm the kind of person who watches through a film's credits. I'm also a music buff, so I often just really enjoy listening to the film's score. But I also, I don't owe them anything, but I don't know. That's just how I consume my media. I actually watch the credits. That's how I do. So, and I don't know. I nobody's gonna know, but I like looking at the lists of people, and sometimes you find really neat names, and sometimes you find job descriptions like what the, like the Susan, person who brushed the horse's hair. It's like there was a horse. It's like, Larry, the person who tied the star's shoes. It's like, why can't Florence Pugh tie her own shoes? Yeah, Florence Pugh, pew pew. I can't. Every time I see a picture of Florence Pugh, she's a popular person, so she comes up on news aggregator sites and social media all the time. In my head, I'm Florence Pugh, pew pew. I hope I never meet her because she'd probably punch me in the face. Jared says I avoid hoof channels. Not my cup of tea. I watched... My sister's boyfriend was in town a month or two ago, so I had him over and bought him some dinner. We were watching YouTube videos or something, and a hoof video, Larry, the hoof guy or something. And he's like, oh, I've seen that. I'm like, what? And he's like, the hoof trimming thing. I'm like, he's like, no, it's awesome, watch it. And it's like, it's kind of interesting. I don't know that I like surgery videos. I find anatomy and fixing anatomy fascinating to watch, both human and non-human. So I like human surgery videos, veterinary videos. I find that stuff fascinating. I'd sit back when I worked at the office. Sometimes I'd be having lunch. I'd be watching some gory surgery video. People like, "Oh my god, how can you look at that and eat?" I don't know. It's So, but yeah, this dude is like, see, this cow's got an abscess in her foot. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna trim that big old toenail back, and then we're gonna wrap it in some acid powder that kills the bacteria, and then we're going to glue a rubber block on the other toe to keep the weight off of the one while it heals and grows new toenail. I'm like, huh, neat. I found another series of videos, and I may have found the best channel on YouTube. This one is, there's some restaurant in Osaka, Japan, and it's called, or translates to, diorama, and they were known for having a big train set, so you could go and have lunch and watch the trains. Well, the pandemic hit them hard, and while they had no customers, they sheltered some stray cats and let them wander around the train set and play with the trains. And then they had the bright idea to film it and post videos on YouTube, and actually strap cameras to the train cars as they roam around the train set. So you have all these cats, Godzilla size, wandering around, swatting at the trains. And they put all that stuff on YouTube, and now they're both a cat rescue and a restaurant and seem to be doing fine. And I get to watch giant cats chase trains around. It's great. So, anyway, maybe I should stop complaining to the movie studios and start complaining to any people who use YouTube in the wrong way. If I had a larger platform, maybe I'd make a video saying, stop using YouTube like this. Then maybe they'll stop putting the 4 or 5 seconds of clips from the trailer in front of the trailer I'm already watching. It would make the world a better place because it would cater to my whims. Alright. Oh, yes. So, I eat eggs for breakfast, among other things, not just eggs, but the batch of eggs that I bought, and I buy them 5 dozen at a time, they were surprisingly orange. Them some vividly orange egg yolks right there. So I posted that on Twitter, and Jeremy, longtime friend of the show, said, that kind of looks like a Metroid. And I thought, with a little bit of food coloring, we could make a Metroid. So that's actually not terribly easy to do because I had to separate the yolks from the goo and put them in another bowl and put some yellow and blue food coloring in, and then very gently stir it, so you'll notice that it's not an even color, because you can't beat it, because then you just have green gush. But this, kind of, gives it kind of a veiny texture, makes it look like, the Metroid goo. And then I put the yolks back in, and then used a toothpick to try and paint some red veiny bits on the orange yolks, and yay, we've got Metroid eggs. So, but of course, so I did eventually have to beat them, and that looks like this. that's a horrible, horrible color. Not appetizing at all, but fry it up with some chicken sausage. And, turns out just fine. Just cover it in some oats and breakfast of champions. That's what you got. But, yeah, some particularly orange eggs I got in this batch, and got to play with a little craft project. So, so I thought that was fun. So thank you, Jeremy, for the suggestion. Exile, hello. Says, learn about taxidermy. Functional cooking miniatures. Ask a mortician and a guy who tries to make a knife out of anything. A genre looks bad, especially once you beat the eggs and it turns into this. That's the most unappetizing thing I've ever seen. That is horrible. Green eggs, but no green. Well, I mean, green eggs and chicken sausage. Close enough. Green eggs and ham is actually very easy to make. It's just food coloring. Usually food dye comes in the primary colors. You're not going to get green. You can get green food dye, but generally you're going to have to use yellow and blue. So, still looks bad, Cicely. Yeah. What was I talking about? There's one genre of video that I actually find fascinating is when experts of some field play video games related to their field of expertise. Like, I saw one video of a dude who works he's a civil engineer, he's a city planner, and he's playing SimCity and city skylines and stuff like that. That I find really fascinating, to get that expertise's insight into a genre that I love. A medium that I love, video games. I've seen martial artists react to fighting games. I've seen free climbers react to Tomb Raider, and climbing in video games like Tomb Raider and the Nathan Drake games, or the Uncharted. I've seen some parkour people talk about Dying Light and the parkour that's shown in that game. Some mythology experts talking about God of War, or some other history experts talking about the Assassin's Creed games. I love that stuff. That's great. So, social media can be a force for good if we want it hard enough. So, all right. So, Resident Evil 4 remake came out a month ago or so, and I love Resident Evil 4. I played it back in, I don't know, 2005 when it came out in the GameCube. God, has it been almost 20 years? Wow. Great game. Probably a top 10 game of mine. It's just so unbelievably well paced and has such wonderful variety. You're always seeing something, even though it's divided into 3 distinct sections: village, castle, and last place, the island compound place, which I admired was still the lab area that you always end up at the end of Resident Evil games, but this one definitely, most of the labs you end up in Resident Evil is just this underground lab. This is just a makeshift lab on an island somewhere, so it had a different feel to it, at least. Great game, Resident Evil 4. Looking forward to playing the remake at some point. Just gotta wait for it to drop in price. Also, kind of curious to see if they're gonna do, like Assignment Ada or Separate Ways as DLC, and if they are, maybe I'll just wait for a gold edition. We'll see. Currently busy with Like a Dragon Ishin, and I've got a bunch of other games I started that I haven't finished yet, like Tales from Berseria, the second AI Somnium Chronicles, Somnium something, Initiative something. Got to finish that one. I barely started that one. Valkyrie Chronicles 4, God of War, the 2018 one, not Ragnarok, the one before that. So I've got plenty of games to occupy my time until I get around to Resident Evil 4 remake. But bunch of Resident Evil games. Pardon me. There are, and Capcom over the years has been remaking them. In 2002, they remade the first Resident Evil on the GameCube, and it was great. And then it wasn't until like 2018-19 where they remade Resident Evil 2, and it was pretty great. Then they remade Resident Evil 3, and it was not as successful, but, not bad. Just not as good. And now they've remade Resident Evil 4, which makes people wonder, it's like, did you skip Code Veronica? Are you going to do Code Veronica? Are you going to remake 5 and 6? And so I was thinking, if they remake another Resident Evil game, which they almost certainly will, what would I like to see? Well, for me, a remake is an excellent opportunity to make something better. And some of these games were great in the first place, and one of the only ways to make them better is just make them more modern. Quality of life improvements, more modern control schemes, and the stuff we expect in modern games. Or you can just make them different. You have a game like Resident Evil 4, you can make the graphics better, you can, alter the controls to make it a little smoother, but the game was great the way it was, so from what I've seen, the approach seems to be, let's just make it a bit different. Let's just, we're not going to improve on perfection, so we're just going to take the characters in like Salazar. He's presented quite a bit differently in the remake. Cool. The ham wasn't green. Yeah, right. I mean, just dye the eggs. It's green eggs and ham, which doesn't necessarily mean the ham is green. The eggs are green. It could be both, and I forget I think it's illustrated in the actual Dr. Seuss book. I think they're both green, but the adjective green doesn't necessarily apply to both of the subsequent nouns. It could be green eggs and ham, or it could be green eggs and ham. That's not necessarily green. I believe if I'm remembering it right, the Dr. Seuss book actually has it green. So, Code Veronica was fine. 5 was fine. 6 was uneven. Some parts worked better than others. I don't think 6 was bad. I don't think it was the utter failure that some people make it out to be. But yeah, there's room for improvement with 6 specifically. I think Code Veronica and 5 would be interesting to see from other perspectives and more modern take. But I'd really like to go back to like the Survivor games and redo those. Someone on Twitter mentioned Resident Evil Survivor, and there was Survivor, Survivor 2, and Dead Aim. So there was also Resident Evil Gaiden, which I think was the Game Boy game, which was on a boat. A couple of them are on a boat. Revelation starts on a boat. I think Survivor 2? Or, no, Survivor 2 I think was just a light gun enabled version of Code Veronica, but Dead Aim I think was was the one that was on a boat. Because one was in like some type of industrial complex. God, I can't remember anymore. So those would be interesting. But the game, if Capcom came to me, knock knock, hi, we're stuck in your apartment complex, but while you're here, pick a Resident Evil title for us to remake. I'd like to see a remake of Outbreak. And Outbreak 2, I suppose. Or, well, it was called File 2, I think. Resident Evil Outbreak, the conceit of that game was it took place in Raccoon City, and you followed like 4 or 5 different just regular Joes, just survivors through Raccoon City. And it was really, I never actually played it, but I thought it was a really cool idea. It was also, their big selling point was like, online co-op, because you could, I'm not sure if it worked kind of like, it was single player too. I don't know if it worked like Resident Evil 0 or anything. Oh, there's another one that they haven't gone back and remade yet. But yeah, Outbreak had zombie animals in it. I think there's like a zombie elephant in it, and that's good enough for me. So yes, Capcom, remake the Outbreak games, because I want you to. No need to ever remake Umbrella Corps. You can just forget that ever happened. Give you a mulligan on that one. It's fine. You know what? I don't like mercenaries. I don't have a problem with mercenaries. I don't begrudge the existence of mercenaries. I just personally don't care for the mode. I don't find it fun to play. Like, whenever it shows up in the games, I play it for like 20 minutes. I'm like, yeah, that's enough. I'm good. I just don't. It's just not my thing. So to wrap up, I saw an anime watched an anime over the last couple of weeks called it's got one of those stupid long titles like I got isekai'd to a world and killed slimes for 6 years and now I'm level 99 or something. Yeah, these stupidly long titles. It is Cautious Hero. The hero is overpowered but overly cautious, which is kind of redundant. So I don't know if that's a bad translation or what, but it's another isekai anime, but it does have kind of a funny conceit. So in this, there's all these worlds are under siege, and the various gods and goddesses need to isekai some hero to fight to save the world. Each of the various worlds that they're in charge of. And our goddess, our main, who's the Belle Dandy, who whatever the hell her name is, probably Susan or something. She mentions that she is isekai's dudes from Japan because the concept of isekai is popular in mainstream Japanese media. So when she isekais people from Japan, they immediately understand what's going on and don't freak out for hours about, oh my god, what's happening? It's like, you have been isekai'd. And like, Oh, I know what that is. Okay. Yeah, I'm like, okay, that's actually pretty funny. Um, they remade Thundercats? Didn't they do that twice? Yeah, because they had one in like 2011, which was. I think I saw one episode of it, and I was like, eh. And I saw half an episode of Roar, which was, the much more younger skewing one, and I don't know, they didn't have the full episode available, so I could only watch like the first 5 minutes. I'm like, yeah, that's not for me. I really hate the design, and the humor's not for me. But I mean, it was targeting 5-year-olds, so oh no, the show targeting 5-year-olds is not for me. Oh well. But the remake of He-Man that they did in the 2010 or somewhere, I thought that was actually pretty well done. And the one that was on Netflix a year ago, Revelations, I thought that was I mean, it's not a full series, more like a mini series, but I thought that was actually really good too. So, and the She-Ra show that came out a few years ago was really good too. So, I mean, remake whatever you want. I mean, worst thing that happens, it sucks. Oh well. I mean, that's a shame, but as long as we always have the original. Looking at you, George Lucas. So, Cautious Hero is Cautious was... It's okay, but what really... What kept me watching throughout the 12 episodes of the show was just how energetic and off the wall the voiced cast was. It was clear that this cast was just having an absolute just having a wonderful time voicing their characters. Because a lot of unconventional, like they'd deliver things as you would conventionally expect a character that looks like that to deliver a line, and then they'd completely change the tenor or timbre of the line just for comedic effect, and I thought it worked really, really well. I thought the humor was broadly pretty strong, although most of it came across in just the really wacky vocal performances. Narratively, it's okay. It's fine. But it's one of those I won't give it a watch, maybe you'll dig it. But Mashy Magic and Muscles is a fun new one that I recommend. Mashy Magic and Muscles. Haven't heard of that. Let's see if I can find it real quick. Oh, Mash Le. I've read that wrong. Okay, no wonder I couldn't find it. Let's see. That's an L, not an I. Okay. So we've got tough dudes standing in front of a school, maybe, with... Is that a witch on a broom? I don't know. Let's see. Into a world of magicians is born Mash, a young boy who lacks magic, but is the strongest person around. His existence and destiny will change the world. Okay, so if I'm reading this conceit, this premise right, the conceit is we essentially have Hogwarts, a school of magic, but our protagonist can't do magic, but he can punch people really hard. That might actually be funny. Is that streaming anywhere I have access to? Let's see. Oh, phooey, it's on Crunchyroll, and Crunchyroll is all tight-waddy right now, and it makes me sad. Oh, Jared already said Crunchyroll. Have I seen the new Dragon Ball movie yet? There's a new Dragon Ball movie? It's not a live-action movie, is it? Well, the answer is no. No, I have not. I've never been a fan of Dragon Ball. In fact, I've always never liked Dragon Ball at all. I think it's a bad show. I mean, there's hundreds of episodes across different series, so I mean, maybe I just didn't see the right arc, but yeah, I do like Yu Yu Hakusho though. I really enjoyed that show. Let's see what else. I actually found out like a couple of years ago. Here's an anime that I quite like. It's from the '90s, but I never hear anyone talk about. It's called You're Under Arrest. It was it's like, I think it's 52 episodes. Had a couple mini specials and a movie. As you might if imply from the title, it's about police officers, and it does a thing that never fails to amuse me for some reason. Is one of the police officers is, it takes place in essentially the real world, but one of the police officers is superhumanly strong for no reason. So she and her partner are, driving along in their little police car, and she rounds a corner too tight, so the other one opens the door and sticks her feet out to brace against the floor so they don't go crashing into a building. I mean, she's not Superman strong, but she's way stronger than any person should be. She can lift a motorcycle, put it over her shoulders, and then walk up a set of stairs. She's stupid strong, and there's no reason for it, and it never fails to amuse me. Anyway, I really like You're Under Arrest. It's a charming show. It's funny. It's action-packed. Got great characters. Really like it. So I was surprised to find out a couple of years ago that they actually had a season 2 and 3 of You're Under Arrest, which I did not know. Nobody told me. Jerks. And it's streaming on a platform called High Dive, which has a 7-day free trial and only costs like $5 a month. So I'll probably have to do that. I can't watch both season 2 and 3 inside of a week. That's like 50-some episodes. I don't have that much time in a day. But I really would like to see the later seasons of that show. I'm a fan of the first show. First season, rather. And, so, and if I have to subscribe to a month of High Dive or whatever it's called, maybe there's some other interesting anime there that I can check out while I have the subscription. So, do I like shonen? I'm not opposed to it. So, yeah, there's plenty of shonen shows that I like, and, some that I don't. It just depends on the show, but it's not a... it's not a style or genre of anime that that I'm opposed to. I mean, it's kind of an all-encompassing. I mean, what counts as a shonen show for some? It'd be like, oh, that's more of a this or that. I don't know. But yeah, I'm fine with it. Let's see. I lost my train of thought here. What was I talking about? I mean, shonen is... I mean, how would you define shonen? It's essentially just anime or manga, I suppose, that the target audience is teenagers, I guess, specifically teenage males. A lot of fighting anime. Some relationships too, but I mean, not into high school, middle school. I mean, if it's done well, it's done well, but so much anime focuses on kids in school, and I'm not a kid in school. I haven't in a long time, so I don't care about kids in school. I just get tired of kids in school because most of it seems to be kids in school. So when I come across it, I mean, that's one nice thing about You're Under Arrest. It's about adults who work. It's not about kids in school. It's not a police academy either. It's about police officers and their, their day-to-day grind. I'm old. I am old. But I mean, if you, I'm generally not into yaoi or yuri, which is the more explicit romance kind of stuff. I don't mind romance, but explicit sexuality is usually not something that's appealing to me. So, mostly fighting themed anime. Yeah, but I think you could probably classify something like Komi Can't Communicate as a shonen anime too. I mean, some would object, some would go, yeah. I mean, is it in Shonen Jump? Then it's shonen anime, And I've only seen, I think, like 2 episodes of Komi Can't Communicate. And it was cute. But I wasn't really, That's how guys are. They hate romance. Do I hate romance? I don't hate romance. I'm just not interested in it. Like, I like it when characters are happy and they get along and they enjoy spending time with each other, but when they start snogging, I'm just not interested in watching that. And if it's there are actually romance anime that I like. Ayori Aoshi is solid. Banner Crest of the Stars is, I mean, at its core is a romance, but it's probably more sci-fi heavy, really. Let's see. Oh My Goddess is more of a comedy than it is a romance. What's something that's explicitly romantic that I like? I liked a good chunk of Karakano. What's the English name? His and Her Circumstances. Boy, that one crashes and burns, but it starts out good. That one. The anime was weird because I think it was animated at a time where the manga was still coming out. So it hit a point where they caught up with the manga and just spun their wheels forever. It is painful to watch the back half of that show. I read the entire run of the manga, and that just gets really uncomfortable and creepy towards the end. I'm talking like Twilight levels of, whose idea was that? But the series does start out quite well, I think. Romance. Yeah, I mean, if it's 2 characters who are, the point of the show is getting the characters to enjoy one another's as people, that's fine. But if it's like the premise is explicitly to get in each other's pants, then I just don't care. Unless there's like lots of explosions or blood and gore or monsters or something, then I might put up with it. Like, there's a lot of there's some explicit, well, not like pornographic explicit, but some definitely R-rated nudity and sex and stuff, like, I don't know, a Wicked City, and I love that. That's trashy goodness. I love that. Oshinoko is another people are talking about. Oshinoko. That's not ringing a bell either. Let's see if I can find it real quick. Oshinoko. Well, it looks like we've got a idol singer. All right. Let's see. Goto works as an OBGYN. Oh my God! Yeah, I heard. I heard about this, and I read the premise, and I'm like, that's some bright and frantically waving red flags. Goro works as an OBGYN in the countryside, a life far removed from the entertainment industry. Meanwhile, his favorite idol, Ai Hoshino, of course her name is Ai, has begun her climb to stardom. The two meet in the worst possible way, setting the gears of fate in motion. Yeah, he meets her because she's a patient of his. And I'm like, oh God, where is that? I've seen a lot of anime, and I'm very concerned about where this is going. So, yeah, I forgot the name, but, yeah. But I've heard a lot of people speak quite positively about this. I haven't read into it, but, yeah, it might be worth... Oh, that's on High Dive. So, yeah, if I get High Dive for a month and finish watching... You're Under Arrest seasons 2 and 3. Maybe I'll give that a try. Because yeah, I'm not saying it's a problematic show. I'm just saying that I've seen a lot of anime, and with that premise, there's some red flags there. So, all right. So that's it for tonight. Thank you everyone for hanging out with me. Tomorrow we return to Crossbell, Trails from Zero, and it came to my attention that there were even though most people in Crossbell City were repeating their dialogue, there were a couple of people who had something new to say. For example, apparently Grace is hanging out at the bar in the alley, and I didn't go talk to her. So we're going to rewind time a little bit and go talk to Grace and I think one or two other people that had unique dialogue and see what they have to say. Then skip to present and finish talking to everybody, and then we have to go to, it's on Ursula Road, Stargazer Tower, where maybe there are monsters that will give us more than one EXP apiece. So, hope you're looking forward to that. I certainly am. So have a nice night, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.